Step one for Arizona State last week, securing their first Pac-12 South Championship under Todd Graham. Tonight, the Sun Devils take all of their emotion and focus it squarely on their arch rival, hoping to bring the Pac-12 championship game to their fans. Arizona's story tonight, repeat, coming off the biggest win of the Rich Rodriguez era, fueled by an exceptional performance from one of the nation's best running backs. The Wildcats look to claim the Territorial Cup for the 87th time, Arizona and Arizona State. It is the best weekend of the year in college football, and in the Pac-12, it's rivalry weekend. The final one takes place in Tempe. As if the emotions and passions aren't enough, the records do matter. Arizona State playing for the right to host the Pac-12 championship in what might be the final home game for a brilliant senior class led by exceptional defensive tackle Will Sutton. All of that brings us inside Sun Devil Stadium tonight for a gem. It is our finale of live football on the Pac-12 Network this year. We could not ask for a better one. Glenn Parker, you know it as well as anybody, and it is interesting. You always say about these games, no matter what the records, it's emotional. Well, the records do mean something tonight.
Yeah, and in rivalries, you know, the thing about them is emotions play a part, and of course the best rivalry is the one that you're involved with. So it means a lot out there, not just from the record standpoint, but the emotional standpoint. And that being the key then is the team that can better adjust to the highs and lows of the game without getting too emotional.
How could Kadeem Carey have anything left tonight after last week?
Yeah, you would wonder. 48 carries against Oregon, but yet he's back. And the reason he's back is when you look at those numbers, that's how he's compiled those numbers. Back-to-back games, season-to-season games. He's had 14 straight 100-yard rushing games. He's their workhorse, and he'll be out there and alive for a rivalry.
Well, he is the one signature running back that will play tonight. Arizona State will not have Marion Grice. He has been their touchdown specialist this year, injured against UCLA. This is moments ago as part of the Senior Day festivities. So Taylor Kelly, their brilliant quarterback, has to find other ways to hurt Arizona.
Yeah, and he's the master of this offense. You talk about Taylor Kelly, you don't talk speed, you don't talk arm strength, you just talk about his command. He understands where guys are going to come open. You know, you run a post here, and he understands that the crossing drag will be open, and he can find Coyle for the score. He understands that play action will have a safety bite, and he understands the way that it is designed to hit. And so he sees Jalen Strong open on the skinny post here because of the bite when they start looking at the running game. Those are the things he does well. He gets them in the right play, and he makes the right read. That command of the offense is everything for Taylor Kelly.
Just so you don't think there's anything going wrong, there was just a fireworks explosion. That's what you heard greeting the Sun Devils on the field. It is a sold-out Sun Devil Stadium, a fabulous way to wrap up the regular season. Both teams have more to play. Arizona State wants to host next week. Pac-12 football brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. Bold flavor, 10 calories. By State Farm for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. And by Chase, so you can. The original Territorial Cup was lost for a long time. It's now kept safely behind glass. The 87th time Arizona and Arizona State have played. It's my first one. I'm excited because the passion, you can feel it. The stadium is sold out. Amazingly, the visiting team has won the last 4 years in this matchup, and every U of A fan still stings from ASU's comeback last year in Tucson. ASU hopes to clinch home field next week. Tonight, Arizona, which knows it's going to a bowl game, would love to spoil. Arizona won the toss, deferred, touchback on the kick to ASU, and let's check in now on the sidelines with Drea Avent.
Hi, Ted. Well, around 300 ASU students camped outside Wells Fargo Arena from around 9 a.m. Wednesday till around 2:30 p.m. today trying to get the best tickets for this game. And I went and talked to some of those students, and they said, hey, this is the most exciting game in the last 15 years. We had to make sure we're here to show the pageantry and support our team. They said Coach Graham told them to bring their A game. That's exactly what they wanted to do today. They said the hate, the loathing, and the disdain for Arizona is at an all-time high. And at 5:45, they got their wristbands. They ran into the stadium, and they said they're going to bring it and make it very loud for Arizona tonight, Ted.
All right, Drea. Well, they've started, and here's Arizona State starting. So without Marion Grice, it is DJ Foster, sophomore from Scottsdale, takes the first carry, first down gain.
And it's zone sweep, meaning you're reading the backside, but you pull your guards and you sweep. DJ Foster, a prolific back, as we know he's been playing wide receiver more, though, with the emergence of Marion Grice back in the backfield now.
With 12 yards on the very first play. This time Kelly keeps him. Did he damage UCLA last week? An amazing job of running that zone read.
He has a command, as I said, of this offense. He understands where things are going to open up, and he's done a very good job all year, and he's gotten better every game.
So 3 yards, ASU staying with the up-tempo. Kelly stringing it out, now tucks the ball and dives to gain a couple. And, you know, Glenn, I would say you could make, and I might make a very strong case that Taylor Kelly has played quarterback better than anybody in the Pac-12 this year.
And I think you could make that
difference than saying he's the best quarterback. I think he's played the position better.
I think you could make that argument very, very easily with his production. It's as good as it's been.
It's going to be 3rd and 5 here for the Sun Devils. Nobody in to help. Arizona rushes 4, and Foster finds a little opening and has a first down across midfield.
That's where Taylor Kelly is very strong. Throws underneath, throws to spots. He's accurate. This is zone defense. He finds the window. You see Foster sits in that window, and Kelly finds it. That's his strength.
What Arizona State did last week, Glenn, was so impressive. They, in the big game at UCLA, as Strong makes the catch there, Arizona State won the toss and took the ball and immediately drove the field for a touchdown. It was them to say, we're going to throw the first punch, and we're ready.
Yeah, and Coach Graham likes having the ball first, wants to score. You know, that goes back to the way football used to be.
Now this time Kelly keeps it, but Arizona was on him. Marquise Flowers was right on Kelly. And Glenn, would you suspect that would be a staple for Arizona tonight? They've got somebody right on him.
I would think you're going to see blitz to stop the run. They're going to maybe show man, blitz to stop the run, meaning bringing one guy off a corner right at the mesh point and falling back into zone with everyone else. So you might see that, a bunch of that tonight.
Well, trying to gain yards, and they do. Foster. That's a good second down gain. Gives him a short 3rd.
Nice run by Foster. Nice job of getting the edge by their blockers and getting that space to run.
Those are Foster's numbers, and as Glenn referenced, he's been much more a pass. He's caught 52 passes this year. Most by a running back, and now trying to get that tough 3rd down yardage, but will be stopped. And the Arizona defense coming off a remarkable, I mean, Glenn, you've seen this defense a lot. It's hard to fathom they could play a better game, that defense, than they did last week against the Ducks.
I would agree with you, and you're right. I've seen the defense a lot, and they're usually outmanned size-wise, usually outmanned speed-wise, so that speaks to how well they're coached.
So now the first significant decision for Todd Grant, 4th and 1. And it's a full yard. Demarie Nelson is lined up as the deep back. Davon Coleman, the lead blocker. And they give it to Nelson. Well, he has all year from August when we were here, they've referred to him as the Swiss Army knife guy, the jack of all trades. They use him here as the tailback.
Well, a Wildcat quarterback in junior college, you see he gives them a size advantage. He's a big guy at 6'3", 220. He's a guy that he'll play wide receiver. He'll play that 3 position where he's a flanker or just off. He'll play tight end. He can do a lot of things for their offense.
And so the Sun Devils drive stays alive. And Kelly throws that one inaccurately behind Strong.
Well, here's DeMar Nelson as quarterback in the Wildcats. See the arrow right on him? He played quarterback, and that they found him when they went out recruiting and said, this guy's just a great athlete. We got to find a way to incorporate him into our scheme. The things he can do with the ball in his hand, and he can play defensive end for us. They went out and found a gem in DeMar Nelson.
Now a design run there on the snap directly to Foster, and he takes it to the 21. So a gain of 5. And once again, the Arizona defense is going to have a chance here if they can get a stop on this down. Force a field goal. Or at least force Arizona State to decide.
Make them have a decision, you're correct.
Jalen Strong wide, very to the top of your screen. That's where Kelly's looking. Little double move to Strong. And he is out of bounds.
And the ball just thrown too far. There was enough real estate to put it in. The ball just sailed. Here's the end. We're going to look. Strong's there with it. And you can see number 1, he doesn't catch the ball too. He's out of bounds.
So Arizona State took the shot to their top receiver, Jalen Strong. Now they will ask freshman Zane Gonzalez, who's had a very good year. 19 of 22 field goals, 38 yards. Hook, just enough. He just bent that one inside the upright. Sun Devils score first.
The Terrytown Cup means everything to me.
The Cup means a lot to me personally, just growing up in Arizona.
This game, obviously, it's going to be heated and it's going to be a rivalry game.
This is a game that we all want to win. We all want to keep it here in Tempe.
So we're going to take it.
It doesn't matter how good you do all year long or how bad you do all year long. This is the only game that matters.
This rivalry is so intense in a world where coaches rarely speak what they really feel. Both coaches this week said, Todd Graves, this most important game? Yeah, it is. Rich Rodriguez said you have to be living under a rock to not know what this game means in this state.
Yeah, a couple of coaches from out of state, really not in the conference, move in, and they get an idea of just how important this game is.
And of course, for Rich Rodriguez, one thing Arizona didn't have this year, they did last year. They had a signature non-conference win over Oklahoma State. This year they didn't have that. But last week grabbed everybody's attention, and they have a shot to get an 8-win season in the year after Matt Scott. That would be terrific. And of course, we know what Todd Graham has done. They're going to play next Saturday. Arizona State is. They hope they play it here against Stanford for a chance to get to their 3rd ever Rose Bowl. And the stadium sold out, 71,000 standing room tickets sold this week. And now they roar with Denker and Arizona on offense for the first time. And Denker does not get the first playoff.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Yeah, that's what Todd Graham. And Todd Graham's worked hard, Glenn, around here to do that, to build this kind of spirit back in ASU football. And Denker is immediately smothered by a man who plays under the shadow of Will Sutton, but Carl Bradford is awfully good.
He had huge plays a week ago against UCLA. He comes up big on the first actual snap from scrimmage. Coming in from the right side, he kept his shoulders square. And the thing that makes it tough on the zone read quarterback is that he also came upfield with square shoulders.
And now Denker fires it away, trying to go up the sideline to Phillips. Nate Phillips became a big receiver for Arizona last week. But the worst possible start on the first possession. You get put into a 2nd and a mile and now 3rd and a mile.
And you wonder how much is being dictated by the fact that they're worried about the matchups up front.
ASU shifting around. Bradford, Davon Coleman, Will Sutton. Chris Young, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week last week, hovering right behind Denker changing the play. Extra man coming. Can Denker get away? No. Trying to find a spot to escape, and Bradford got him.
And there's where B.J. Denker has not thrown into the position, is that when it is a drop back pass and the pocket closes around him, his eyes go down, he looks for an escape route rather than keeping his eyes up the field.
That is only the 15th sack of Denker this year, the second fewest sacks Arizona has had in the conference. But ASU puts an exclamation point on their first defensive series, and now a shanked punt by Drew Riggleman.
That one is coming back inside the 30.
Wow.
Punting has been an issue for Arizona for a few years, and it doesn't look like it's going to be resolved tonight.
A miss hit. A 12-yard punt will give Arizona State the ball at the U of A 24.
Take a look how he mishits this ball. Got a lot of foot on it. You wonder, and he knew right away.
The special teams bit Arizona State last week. Todd Graham was really unhappy with his special teams, even though they won the game. They get a huge lift here from a U of A mistake. Now Kelly is smothered.
Now, Coach Graham got what he wanted immediately, though. He got the ball to start, which by all accounts he probably would have taken had he won the coin toss. He gets a score. He wins field position battle because his defense shuts down Arizona immediately, and then special teams come through for him. All right in a row. It's a perfect start for him and the Sun Devil team.
Tevin Hood made the play on Kelly. So second down, Kelly pulls it back, finds Ozier. Kevin Ozier, senior receiver, down near the 10. And what we just saw, Glenn, in essence, was a turnover. And that's what ASU has shined at this year, taking turnovers and making the points.
They have forced a turnover in every game that Coach Graham has been at the Sun Devils.
So now at the 11, red zone for Arizona State. This is where we get a measure of how much they miss Grice. This is where Marion Grice has excelled.
Well, I think they'll miss him maybe in his ability to run the ball or catch it out of the backfield, but the schemes will be the same. The defenses still have to respect the run. They have to respect the handoff and the fake, so that won't change. Jalen Strong now is actually in the slot.
Rick Smith to the top. Foster, the running back, alongside. And Kelly gives it to Foster, and he drives it down just inside the 5. 18 red zone touchdowns from Grice on the sideline right now. Foster has 2 on the ground, 3 touchdowns receiving. Looking at the personnel, Demarie Nelson is in the game here, but he's going to act more as a tight end. When Arizona State uses anything like a fullback, they use defensive lineman Davon Coleman in that spot.
Nelson lining up as a tight end, but gives you the speed of a wide receiver there.
Trying to find Jalen Strong going up against Jonathan McKnight. So 2 third down shots so far, Glenn, where ASU has tried to throw it to Jalen Strong.
Great point, and both of them have been a bit of a fade over the top type route. That if there's a weakness in Taylor Kelly's game, it's that down the field he's not as accurate as he is when throwing underneath or spot routes.
And that is a very important stop for Arizona, forcing Gonzalez, who's made 16 in a row. Try to add to that from 22. Which he does. So Arizona State has scored twice, but Arizona may exhale a little bit. For the Wildcats, this could have been a lot worse. Well, the Sun Devil students, and they're all wearing colors tonight. Everybody proud, 6 points. And if you're on the Arizona side, you couldn't script much worse of a start, yet you're only down 6.
your defense has played well to keep you here. Now you wonder the emotional side that we talk about. You have to keep yourself from being too high or too low in these games.
All right, Alex Garud airmails the kick for a touchback. Let's look at our difference makers, brought to you by Esurance.
I think up front for Arizona, Cayman Bundage, he's going to have his hands full. He's a very physical player, but he's got to go against Will Sutton and that good defensive line. Terrence Miller, he's got to show up and make those plays. And then on the backside, when you look at Sutton and Conway, if they can be successful up front, the day's going to be very long for a run-oriented offense that Arizona has.
Yeah, that's another guy we don't reference. You talk about Bradford and Sutton, people like that. Gavin Conway has really come on this year for Arizona State. So, Carey did not touch the ball first series. Throwing a big ball right away, and Denker just misses Samaje Grant. And he had him.
They use the fake of Kadeem Carey, who comes in and throws his shoulder down. That gets them biting up. Now you've got your guy in space. You've got to put it out into real estate and allow him to run under it. Don't throw to the spot he's going to be, that he's at. Go throw it to where he's going to be.
Now Denker throws, that's a nice ball. He comes back there with a dart. Trey Griffey, who's emerged the last couple of weeks, first action he's getting. So Denker couldn't throw that one any better.
No, it was a nice throw, and talking with the coaches before the game, they said Trey Griffey is a guy that is making the catches no one else made. He got the chance, and he got the start tonight because of it.
All right, receiver stacks. Denker, and Denker, this is what he's done so well. P.J. Denker, over 800 rush yards. That's an unknown fact. He's the number 6 rusher in the conference.
Watch this now. As he gets going, watch. Arizona State is in man. So the respect, because they're running off with receivers, that opens up a long lane for Denker to get into and get those yards.
And here we are. Kadeem Carey has not touched the ball yet. After 48 carries last Saturday. And they went the wrong way. And that busted play costs Arizona.
Before the play, you saw Kadeem Carey. They moved him around, tried to put him somewhere else. There was obviously a miscommunication with formation and personnel. And you see now he's behind Denker, and it looked like he was going the opposite way that Denker was going.
So now Arizona has to rebound from a -4 on first. Straight give to Carey. And Carey pushes it back to the original line, +1. Alden Darby on the tackle.
Alden Darby, one of those players that we've highlighted, we've watched in the past. A great playmaker defensively, will come up and lay a shot, but also good in coverage.
4 receivers. Denker going to the wide side, and Denker won't get there. Had nowhere to throw it. Stringing the play out, and eventually forcing Denker out is Chris Young.
And you see, that's the inexperience of Denker as a thrower. He gets out there, he needs to know to throw the ball away rather than take that. That's going to register as a sack because it's a loss of a yard. The receivers get caught up with one another farther down the field. He needs to just toss that ball into the ground 20 yards up or out, away from everybody.
So now Drew Riggleman needs to square himself away. With a solid punt, he does here. Hangs it toward the end zone. So it'll be a touchback, and that net won't be as powerful for Arizona.
Fans inside for the one-year Washington contest, sponsored by Whataburger.
Arizona State hoping to host the Pac-12 championship game next Saturday. Here are difference makers presented by Esurance.
Well, DJ Foster, you look at the receptions he has, that leads all running backs in the country. Jalen Strong, a big body out there, so they're going to need to win at those 2 positions. And then on the defensive side, Jake Fisher has got to spy things, get the calls out correctly, and Shaquille Richardson back in coverage. Got to make some plays if they're going to stay on the field with this offense.
So Arizona State lining up and again using Demarie Nelson in the backfield as Kelly stopped for a yard gain. And don't forget Shaq Richardson last week. Glenn, I don't know if that was instinct or what. What a great play Shaq Richardson made on the first interception of Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, to be able to get his body out of bounds, throw that ball back to Scooby Wright. An impressive play, kind of one of those schoolyard plays you think you always think you could make and rarely do.
On second down, here's a handoff. Well, Todd Graham and Mike Norvell, the offensive coordinator, said, all right, Marion Grice not going to play tonight. Guess what, DeMaria? You're now a running back. Here you go.
And we talked about
Miles Jack.
There you go. Absolutely. And you talk about his size. We did earlier at 6'3", 230. He's a load, and you saw him get the yards after contact, drag defenders to get the first down.
That was an 11-yard gain. Now, as a pass receiver, he can't hold on.
Here's that interception from last week. Shaquille Richardson throwing himself, getting that ball, flipping it back to Scooby Wright. That was a momentum shifter for Arizona, and Marcus Mariota's first interception, not really his fault, but certainly a huge play for that Arizona defense.
It was the first pick in a year thrown by Mariota. He threw another one in that game, and then 2 more yesterday, although he threw the winning touchdown pass in the final seconds in the Civil War. Foster pushes it out, and now it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Sun Devils.
Arizona really has to wonder, are they going to come up and play man, stop the run, and make Taylor Kelly throw accurately, or do they drop in zone and give a little something?
Extra rushers coming, and Kelly throws that back shoulder. The pass he's thrown so well to Jalen Strong this year. This time he throws it to Nelson.
Nelson will come out of the slot, and you see the way this ball's thrown. It's right to his back shoulder. And the thing about that is it gives your guy a chance. The defender doesn't have much of a chance to turn on the ball. And it's not a particularly, you don't have to be as accurate with it because you're going behind the defense rather than over the top.
A 21-yard play now. Kelly goes the other way. Short first down gain. That one goes to Frederick Gamage.
Of course, lost in that throw was how athletic Nelson had to be to turn, get up above the defender, and make that grab.
Kelly starting to get going. The ASU offense on 2nd and 4, and there's a beautiful play that will give ASU 6. Darwin Rogers by himself. Just the 7th career reception for Darwin Rogers, his 2nd touchdown. And this time Arizona State does finish the drive, just 7 plays. And the Sun Devils have put a first quarter smack on their rivals.
Well, this is a staple of this offense. Arizona had big gains last week. Block. Because you're in man, wait till he reads run, and then he's gone and free because your safety and your linebacker will come up as well. If you're in man, you are in man. You cannot come off your guy to make a tackle. And that's what you see happen right here. The minute they read run, the defender comes off man coverage. There is no one to pick up the slack, and it's an easy throw. Really nicely designed play.
You saw in the replay, you could see Shaq Richardson blasting right up into the line, into the run play.
That's correct.
And there's no one back.
And the reason they run that, and I highlighted B.J. Denker on the run earlier, they were in man, and that's why he could run for the 10 yards. Well, most defenses would gladly give up a 10-yard run rather than a touchdown pass.
All right, a knee taken by Arizona, the Pac-12 championship trophy here tonight. It might stay here. If Arizona State wins this game, they will host next Saturday Stanford, Arizona State tickets are available at the participating schools' websites at gostanford.com, thesundevils.com. A berth in the Rose Bowl on the line next Saturday. Again, if ASU wins this game, it is here in Tempe. If Arizona wins this game, next Saturday would be in Palo Alto, which is where the game was last year. So there's Carey getting his first inside chance, and Gannon Conway stopped him.
And immediately you see the presence of Will Sutton. He had such penetration, it forced where Kadeem Carey was allowed to run.
Anchor throws a slant. That is going to be just short of a first down to Garrett Wharton. And 3rd and 1.
Now it's going to be tough for Arizona. The decision here at 3rd and 1, you normally would think run with Kadeem Carey, but Arizona State has shut down the run effectively so far tonight.
Here they come up to try to bottle up Carey, and Carey does a nice job. And look at Carey. Two things there, Glenn, that are brilliant is he wraps the ball. No one's taking it from him, and he just keeps driving forward.
Yeah, this is a nice job here. He bounces, realizes he has to get the first, and you're right, covers up the ball, and the legs never stop driving.
And that looked like a nothing play, and he got 6 yards out of it. And this is what Carey did from the very start last Saturday. You talk about breaking a team's spirit. What he did in the early part of that game against Oregon.
He was that battering ram, and it started early, like you said. I think immediately Oregon thought to themselves, we've got another Stanford on our hands. Guys are going to beat us up a bit. And that's the identity Arizona wants to have, particularly with Kadeem Carey. And so far tonight, they are just starting to show it.
And that number you just saw there was amazing. 84 yards he gained last week after he was first significant contact by an Oregon defender. And that's what broke Oregon's spirit. Here, well, there's Arizona State different. First contact stopped him.
Really nice job wrapping up, getting their arms around him, driving their feet. That's how you defeat Kadeem Carey. That's David Coleman right inside getting that done, along with Salamo Fiso.
I don't think there was one carry to the 48 last week where that happened, where he got stood up and pushed back. And there he goes forward just enough to keep the drive going for Arizona. Glenn, this is the first Arizona drive of the game.
Yeah, and you know, Tech, you went through and looked at every one and brought this up to us, and just the amount of times where there's an initial contact and he makes huge gains afterwards.
And as the game went along, as you could assume, when you carry 48 times, those yards after contact got a little less as the game went on. But in the first half in particular, very significant.
You see those yards and the amount of that rushing and just the amount of times he touched the ball last week.
So with the quarter clock in the final 30 seconds, 2nd down 10. Daniel Jenkins gets the play fake, and there's a nice little gain and a better spin out by Nate Phillips to get Arizona close. That's a good job of yards after catch.
Tackled by Nelson and Randall.
First quarter will end here, but Arizona will now have 3rd down and about a yard when we start the 2nd quarter. A drive that Arizona would very much want to get some points. Try to stop the big start by the Sun Devils on both sides of the ball. And the first quarter of the Territorial Cup, all Sun Devils. Pac-12 football brought to you by MFS Investment Management. And by Esurance, now offering savings for Pac-12 students and alumni. Find out more at esurance.com/Pac-12. What a gorgeous night in the Valley. And a night again where it's that special night on these. What a day of football it was. My gosh, we were all mesmerized by what we were watching from the rivalry games around the country. We kick it off tonight in the Valley where the entire state gets hypnotized by this fierce battle. But on 3rd down, Arizona looks to be stopped. Carey did not get the line to gain.
Great penetration by that defensive line. of the Sun Devils. They are winning the battle right now in the trenches. Everything has to go outside for Arizona or they can't gain yards.
So the first decision for Rich Rodriguez, Kadeem Carey's shoe coming off. B.J. Denker wanting the play clock reset. It is not. So U of A is going to go, and they're going to have to get going here. And Carey can't bounce. Bradford. Carl Bradford stones the Pac-10's top runner.
And there's what I said. They cannot win the battle inside. You're going to have to go outside. Pressure will come from the outside. Terrence Miller, a tight end against Bradford, is a mismatch. Miller cannot protect the backside in that play. And so when you do that, you're allowing ASU to dictate to you then for the rest of the game how you're going to be running. They need to find an answer to their inside troubles.
Well, Rich Rodriguez shaking his head. The Pac-12's top runner and carry yards per game. And here comes Foster right back. Streaking inside the 30, inside the 25. And then a scrum starts in the Arizona State bench at the end of the play. Quickly stopped.
Foster, great speed, good blocking by the wide receivers. You see right there, when you've got your guys blocking well on the edge and you've got that speed, it's easy for your running backs.
Well, this is already going to become the busiest night of Foster's year in terms of load on the ground, and he's handling it early. And ASU's defense may have just struck a decisive blow in this game, giving the offense a chance to really open it.
Again, emotion, it's the highs and lows. If you can't handle that, you're in trouble. And right now, Arizona State's on a high. The wide receivers, are blocking on the edge. So now that allows you, because you've been accurate with the ball, it allows you to run inside as well.
Kelly gonna get just enough.
Well, I referenced wide receivers blocking. You take a look at Kevin Ogier out here, number 82 at the top. You see the blocking. Each of those guys locks up, hands inside, right where the officials can see him and know it's clean. When you can do that, you can come back inside with the inside zone. And because Taylor Kelly's been accurate with the ball, now you put pressure on the Arizona defense to cover sideline to sideline, top to bottom.
And now the red zone alignment again with Demarie Nelson lining up alongside Kelly. And he's pulling to lead, doesn't even need to. Foster walks in. They had Nelson running as a convoy for him, and he didn't even need to block.
Yeah, that drive was all DJ Foster, and that's where the yards came from. But it's a complete team touchdown when your offensive line's blocking like that and your wide receivers are out there locked up and clean. It's easy for you. Well, a lot of weapons on this Sun Devil offense, and so far DJ Foster is breaking loose, as is the entire Sun Devil team.
You got the bite, you got the sting, you've got me wrapped up.
Well, DJ Foster carried 3 times for 50 yards on that drive, and Arizona State has already had 10 plays of 10-plus yards. 10 already. But Glenn, I can't help but say that Arizona State's defensive front just set the tone for the game.
I think you're absolutely correct. They had been winning the line of scrimmage. I think they just won the line of scrimmage.
Nice shorter kick into the field of play. It is Jared Baker on the run back right now. Let's send things to our studios and Mike Yam for a game break fueled by Gatorade.
All right, Ted, we'll update you on UCLA and USC. It was 21-7. Cody Kessler, though, the 22-yard touchdown to make it 21-14. Meanwhile, ASU's opponent in the Pac-12 championship game, that would be Stanford, just finishing off Notre Dame, 27-20, the final there.
All right, Mike, what incredible 3 games we've had today. They may have another good one going down the stretch there at the Coliseum. Here it is all ASU. And Denker does get a strike there to Garrett Wharton. That will take the ball up near midfield.
Well, a little play action, a double move with the pump. You're going to see Derek Wharton, top of your screen. He comes in, and then he's back out on that pump. And Denker very accurate with that ball over the top.
Yeah, nice throw again for 25 and an Arizona first. And Denker does give it an Ayers carry, and that's what Oregon saw a lot of last week. He ran into Demarius Randall and then gained another 3 or 4 yards.
And you see what they're doing. They started out with the pass, that loosens it up. Run the outside zone, almost a counter action coming back. They have to keep the front 4 of the Sun Devils guessing.
Carey tried to get outside, and this time he got wrapped up low by Solano Fiso.
Well, the play's designed for Carey to go towards the right. There's color in every hole, so he cuts back, and Fiso does a great job the minute there's a cutback of going north and south and scraping into the hole.
Second time that Carey has to come off the field with his shoe coming off. Bishop Sankey has gained more total yards this year from Washington. Kadeem Carey more yards per game. And on third downs, Denker again is going to be stopped just short. And again, give Rich Rodriguez a call to make here.
Well, again, you know, when you have Daniel Jenkins, a 5'9" running back, blocking Bradford on the edge, you've got a mismatch. They do not have a true tight end at Arizona, and they're finding the problem in 4th down and 3rd down and short situation.
And they don't get Carey back on the field. 4th down, half a yard. They want a timeout. I would think if you're going to go for it, you need to put Kadeem Carey back on the field. And that may be what unfolds. We'll find out coming out of this Arizona timeout. Road to the Pac-12 Championship is brought to you by UPS. Stanford has just finished off a win over Notre Dame, giving them a 10th win. But Arizona State, if they win this game, will finish the regular season with the best conference record. And that's not, I don't think you would have found 5 people that would have predicted that at the start of the season. Meanwhile, it is 4th down for Arizona, coming out of a team timeout, which gets Kadeem Carey back on the field. They need a half a yard. And Carey is stopped again. He did not get it. It was Fiso that got in and hit him first. The 3rd consecutive short yardage play in which Arizona State's defense has stopped Carey.
They win the line of scrimmage. They penetrate. They drive people back. It's interesting watching this game. It's almost as if the offensive line for Arizona is unaware that the snap count is coming and that they have to win position. On all these 3rd and 4th and shorts, they have been blown back off the ball.
Even Rich Rodriguez talked this week about what an experienced defense, seniors all over the place for Arizona State. But there, Fiso's a redshirt in Long Beach, California, a young guy. And he has made a couple of big first half plays with Foster on the carry. And for all the talk, Glenn Parker, about, and it's worthy talk, of Stanford's excellence in defensive front 7, we've seen a lot of Arizona State this year, and their defensive front is making a heck of a case for themselves. And Kelly trying to find Ozier on a unique fake. And just missed him at the 30.
Take that reverse, drop back. The double went with Strong, and so that left Ozier open. Just couldn't get the ball there. Took a shot for his double. Talking about this defense, though, I think people were underestimating them because of how tough their schedule was to start. When you play the likes of Wisconsin and Stanford and SC and Notre Dame to start the season, you're gonna struggle a little. And there were new guys in there. And so once that defense started learning, they got better and better as the season went along.
Third down is incomplete. Ooh, that actually at the last was almost caught by diving Jared Tevis. Foster coming out of the backfield intended with Flowers covering. Well, I'll tell you this, Glenn. Arizona State, we mentioned this once last week, but again this week, if you need to have anything highlighted about the total lack of credibility of the coaches poll, this week, 18th Arizona State in the coaches poll. In the computer polls this week, 6th. So there's your utter lack of credibility in the coaches poll. It'll be Arizona ball when we come back to the Territorial Cup. So Arizona takes the ball. That was the first Arizona State possession in which they didn't score. And U of A really needing something. They've had a little bit of offense, but they need some points. Kadeem Carey in the backfield, swinging out. And Danker's throw to the middle for Miller. Misses, but draws a flag. Osahan Irabor on the cover.
Pass interference, defense, number 24. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic, first down.
It'll be right on the left side there. And you can see him grab that right hand around his waist and pull him. You got to know, if you're a defender, you have to know where the officials are and what they can see, and that's an easy one for them.
That hip hook usually gets caught. Carey again stays in the block. Bradford, but Young comes from behind, and Danker is able to get away and try to flip one.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback is out of the pocket and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. Second down.
And the head linesman was there on the far sideline. He immediately signaled to the referee, Jack Wood. The ball got to the line. Kadeem Carey, you don't see a lot of elite running. He stood right there, and he took on Bradford as a blocker.
When you speak to scouts about Kadeem Carey, they rave about his running ability. They love what he does without the ball.
Danker fires one up for grabs, and it's grabbed by Darby. Well, Danker just fired that one up there in the middle of the field, and Alden Darby wins the battle for Arizona State.
This interception goes to Will Sutton. Watch the pressure he gets. It's immediate. He comes under. He is right in Danker's face. Danker cannot set to throw, and this ball floats. That sack, that interception goes to Will Sutton. Great job by him with the swim move. And you're going to look at it here. Just uses his hands on Cayman Bundage. Cayman Bundage puts his head down. Number one, mistake in pass protection. And he's coming forward. That's the next mistake.
Well, that's why every football person that watches Will Sutton loves it. Plays like that. Short gain here on first down. By the way, that pick for Darby, that's his 4th interception of the year. Arizona State leads the conference, 19 interceptions, and they lead the conference in turnover margin, which is the stat that almost always correlates to winning. Plus 11 now, ASU. Rick Smith on that pass, but he's stopped. That'll be a loss. Look at the field position difference.
It's tough to do much in terms of points when you're always driving the long way and you're always giving up a short field.
And Arizona's just trying not to get buried here. That's really what this is. This is survival in the first half. Back shoulder. Well, that's what Taylor Kelly, every coach we've talked to about Arizona State this year, Glenn, that's the first thing to talk about Taylor Kelly, is how well he throws this ball.
Yeah, because it's on a line and it's a bullet, so it comes in easy for the receiver. Turn around on that ball, strong, turns around and it's there. It doesn't have to be perfectly placed the way so many other routes have to be thrown.
21 yards. And just short of the goal line is Chris Coyle, who has not caught as many, only 3 balls the last couple of weeks. but it could be a very good red zone weapon for ASU.
And that's when we talked about, Marion Grice being out hurts them. But they have so many weapons.
Not so far tonight.
Yeah, they just have so many weapons. You still get caught up in the which one do we take first.
And Demarie Nelson. Marion Grice seeing somebody else take over the red zone duties tonight. It is Nelson with the touchdown as a runner, his first.
I have no doubt that in the championship game, should they make it, and it looks that way like it will be, Demarie Nelson will be their short yardage guy.
And it's fascinating because Stanford, when Jim Harbaugh took over and now David Shaw, they've been masters at moving people. One side of exactly what Miles Jack has done this year. Move people from one side of the ball to the other. Nelson doing this tonight, and Stanford having some tape to watch. And Arizona State's making a very strong first half statement. Hey, to Stanford, book some plane tickets. Well, this is our last live football telecast of the season on Pac-12 Networks, but we're hardly done with football. All week long leading into the championship. Have all the analysis from coaches and players during the week. Our crew with Mike and Rick and Curtis before the game from the site next Saturday. And then after the game, highlights and interviews all week coming up on Pac-12 Networks. We're a ways from being done here, but it's looking a little bit better for Tempe. Clearly, as you see in the upper left. Jared Baker on the return for Arizona. That's the 22, and let's go global for a moment here with our Heisman Watch brought to you by Nissan.
Well, coming into this week, you would look at Kadeem Carey with his yards, had to be considered, struggling so far tonight, obviously. And Jameis Winston, is he going to be there? Well, there is a cloud for a bit, but he's certainly putting up the numbers to win it because A.J. McCarron, of course, lost earlier today and had a good game, but not a game you would necessarily think is Heisman worthy. So right now, I think you look at Winston and you start looking around and see who else can get into the conversation.
Back in Kadeem Carey, he doesn't have quite the national profile as some of the other names. Carey going outside here. Jared Baker, by the way, got hurt and looked to be an injury of some significance. He needed two teammates to carry him off the field after that return. There he is.
One thing we haven't said is when you can kick off like ASU has been able to do and force returns by putting it at the 1.
That's terrific, isn't it? Dave Phillips on the catch here.
Yeah, when you kick to the 1, you force a return, and so you lose field position. Arizona started inside the 25 the last 2 times, and now again faced with third and short. Pay attention to the line of scrimmage.
Well, right now, Arizona State has won this first half because they've not let this happen. They've not let Kadeem Carey run when everybody knows he wants to run.
Yeah, Arizona State's doing a nice job of slanting to the side that he wants to run to.
Well, there, Carey did a great job. Well, he ran right to the back of his center, Garola, and he bounced off his own center and got the first.
Yeah, and they're slanting the way he wants to run, and that's making him cut back. And right there, Bradford's in the back. Carey has to cut, but he just puts his nose forward to get that first.
Will Sutton stood up the center. There's a hit that jars the ball, forcing an incompletion. Robert Nelson on the hit of Samaji Grant. Kadeem Carey, 13 carries in the first half for 29 yards. 3 backs that have separated themselves this year in the conference. Bishop Sankey at a 200-yarder yesterday. Tyler Gaffney at 189 tonight against Notre Dame. But Carey being stymied here by ASU in the first half. The other is the pass is caught by Miller. The other obvious play here, Glenn, is that this score is going to diminish Arizona's ability to play the game they want of handing it to Carey all the time.
You're absolutely right. And one thing you need to say is how well Arizona State's tackling. They're coming up and tackling. So that's part of the problem for Arizona. Even when they might have some running room, there's some sure tackling by this Sun Devil defense. But you're absolutely right. The only time they were able to do what they wanted against USC down big, they were still able to move the ball well and made a comeback. So they've shown the ability to adjust through the season.
Arizona, their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, team timeout taken by Rich Rodriguez, who, well, DJ Foster has done most of the work so far in the absence of Marion Grice, and he's had a season high in just the first half. 11 carries for 90 yards.
Yeah, good speed. They're doing a nice job blocking for him up front. The perimeter, the wide receivers are blocking clean, and he's a gifted enough running back to take advantage and understand how to set up blocks, and he's come alive. He's one of those guys. Every year this rivalry produces a hero, and a lot of times it's an unexpected one, and with Grice down, DJ Foster was asked to step up, and he's done so.
Third down throw, and a nice catch by Trey Griffey.
Well, the play that produced the touchdown for Arizona State to Rogers produces this throw. Watch the receiver, they're on him, they step up when they see run, and then he's able to get behind that defense for the catch.
Kadeem Carey, short game line. Anybody who was watching any of the Stanford-Notre Dame game today, you saw pretty significant player David Robinson standing on the sideline. His son was a receiver at Notre Dame this year, and now you've got a great Hall of Fame bound baseball player whose son is starting to get his sea legs here. First real time he's had a chance to contribute to Arizona football.
BJ Denker took a real shot that time, and they're doing a nice job pressuring. You're going to see this come in. Chris Young throws himself in there, and of course Bradford was there, but that was who Kadeem Carey picked up in the pass block.
Denker trying to find, and does find inside the 10. Well, nice adjustment by Garrick Wharton to make that catch.
Now Garrick Wharton's got good speed, and you can tell he's back there, but he has to slow down for this ball. It's thrown underneath. See the adjustment he makes? Gets up over the defender.
First and goal.
Arizona State, their first charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So this was taken by Todd Graham, defensive timeout for the Sun Devils. Well, we talked about the rivalry weekend around the conference, and let's go to DJ Adams spinning the records for us.
DJ Adams, well, here you go. 20 different school records for Kadeem Carey. Rush yards, TDs, single season. That's the man right there. Look at that. How about a school record for Bishop Sankey with this? 306 attempts, 1,700 yards, 35 touchdowns. He's another guy that is a next level back in this conference. He's shown up for everybody. There's a lot of talent offensively in this conference this year.
Bishop Sankey broke Corey Dillon's single season UW rushing record against Arizona State. Bishop Sankey had 22 yards. And Kadeem Carey's not doing much better. And he once again met Mr. Sutton.
You have to adjust. You have to figure it out. Sutton comes underneath. You have a guard that blocks to the next level, a tackle that doesn't come into that block. He goes unblocked, and he makes the play he's supposed to make if he's unblocked.
Wow, that's a nice catch. Terrence Miller, that ball had all the look of an interception, and Terrence Miller shot Spider-Man arms out there to catch it. Take it to the 1. Do you think that was picked?
The ball was in traffic. It was hard to tell. I was surprised that they didn't flag Kadeem Carey for a leg whip. That's where my eyes were to begin with.
Right. 3rd and goal. Denker looking, and now he gets help because Todd Graham.
Timeout, Arizona State. Their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Young was right there, but you're right. Miller with the
Anthony
really nice
Jones
job to get himself out there. Anthony Jones, instead of stepping forward, obviously it's one of those things that you don't have a feel for as a linebacker, that a tight end / wide receiver like Miller has that feel, knows where to go get the ball.
All right, so it's at the 1-yard line. It's 3rd down, and I think most of us would guess this is absolutely 2 downs if Arizona needs them.
The question, if you're Arizona, is how much do you trust your offensive line to get you a yard running the ball?
That's not been a question they've had to ask themselves this year. Well, Kadeem Carey, 15 carries in this first half for 28 yards. So they're going to run an option, and Denker will take it in. And it has been a great weapon for Arizona this year, B.J. Denker's legs. That is his 12th rushing touchdown.
Well, when you want to hit the edge and you don't have a tight end, your best blocker without the ball also happens to be your best runner with the ball, and that's Kadeem Carey. Use him as a lead back. He's the one that flies up in there with his body. Denker reads that block and gets himself in.
Zane Smith to kick. Nick Isham is the holder. Jake Smith puts it through. So 27-7, ASU.
Run it out. You see Kadeem Carey throw his body right into Will Sutton's chest, knocks him off just enough that he can't make the tackle. And then ends up going over the top and into the ground with it. So,
and Glenn, you made a great point about Kadeem Carey, because he is one of the premier backs in this conference. We mentioned he didn't play the first game of the season, team suspension, thus he doesn't have the number of yards of Sankey. He has more yards per game. What Carey, and he's going to have to make the decision that many will make at the end of the season about whether to go pro or not. He reminds me a lot of a back like a Frank Gore, who's a terrific runner. He's not necessarily the same type of runner as Frank Gore, but he immediately can step in and block well. And you can trust him to block.
There's the key word. You can trust him to block. Coaching is all about trust. If I can trust someone, you're going to see the field. Plain and simple. So particularly at the next level.
And so Arizona getting clearly just some points they needed to get on the board. They do. And a touchback for the Sun Devils. Well, last year in Tucson, a painful for Arizona's swing when they appeared to be firmly in command of the game. And the fourth quarter was won decisively by the Sun Devils.
Yeah, their offense did well, and then their defense forced turnovers and got points off of that. And as you see there, the possessions Arizona had in that quarter, not productive.
16 wins between these two teams coming into the Territorial Cup since they went to the Pac-10 in 1978. This ties the most wins combined coming into the Territorial Cup. 1986 was the other game in which you were in that game, 86?
I was not in 86.
You were not in 86, okay. I get your years mixed up all the time.
Well,
you're not that old.
I do too. I lie about my age a lot, Ted.
You're not that old. But that tells you something about what these two coaches have done, that this ties the most wins for the two programs coupled coming into this game.
Yeah, and remember that prior to that, they joined the Pac-10 to make it the Pac-10 in 78. So they were facing less competition for a lot of those years.
It comes out to the 29-yard line on the run by Foster. Mike Am, Rick Neuheisel, Curtis Conway, Ronnie Lott will be along with the Dr. Pepper halftime report. And, well, the Cal-Stanford play may have been eclipsed. That finish today may go down as the greatest final play. Because it was a legitimate play. to end a rivalry game.
And the circumstances in which it happened.
And the 2 top 5 teams, all of it.
National championship implications.
Yes.
So much to it.
Jack Richardson on the defense there for Arizona. And I would love to hear Rick, who's an old coach, talk about that, because I've seen it so often. Coaches are very reluctant to kick that long field goal because the team on the field is they're not used to tackling. And in college, you would never practice that, would you?
You know, I never remember it in college ever practicing it. In the pros, it was something Marv Levy being a special teams guy that we always practiced.
Right.
But
the route of that sideways run to smack the punt down there. And I only said that because obviously in college, where you're restricted 20 hours a week, to practice this would be, I would think would be, and I would love to hear Rick's comments, would be difficult. This was the last play. Alabama trying a 56-plus field goal. And watch the reactions of these Alabama players.
Well, interesting enough, when you watch, the Alabama players were watching, not covering.
Yes.
And then when they decided to cover, it was half speed, adjusting their helmets with no sense of urgency. They got burned because they were not prepared.
Right, I would. Nick Saban's record is awesome, but I would really question that decision.
I don't, if you're going to make that decision, fine, but then you must have prepared your players for that scenario.
That's what I mean.
And they were not prepared.
They had that overtime guarantee. That's what I'm saying. That's why I would question that. 56-plus, wow. Anyway. There's Carey, first time tonight. And he's out in space. Wow, still going. Well, there's what makes Carey to be so special. How many times you have to tackle him.
A lot of yards after contact. He gets through pretty clean, and you wonder what the adjustments have been made. The big block right there came in Bundage, left guard against Devon Coleman, and that's what sprung him.
Well, this is a nice burst by Arizona, trying to kick it in here before halftime. Carey on the previous run for 28, and now Denker tacks on 13. Rich Rodriguez told us Kadeem Carey spent much of this week in the cold tub. That was the reaction to the 48 carry workload. Demarius Randall with the open field hit.
A great open field hit by Demarius Randall. What Arizona's done is they've come out 2 by 2 to spread out the Sun Devil defense so that they really, they're not playing with a tight end, they're playing with 4 wide receivers now. That spreads things out and gives Kadeem Carey a little more room to run.
I should give Robert Nelson the credit on that play. And there's a wrap up right away. Samaje Grant. And you see, Glenn, one thing we've seen this year, Arizona, their receivers, without Austin Hill this year, receivers are small. And the Arizona State defenders generally are bigger than the receivers are tackling.
And they're very sure tacklers. A bit of confusion by Arizona getting in formation. Todd Graham's going to call another timeout.
Timeout, Arizona State. Their third and final timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, I'm not sure I've seen a Coors Light Cold Hard fact where I've seen a team up 27 points take 3 defensive timeouts and a half. But that's Todd Graham. Now here's our Arizona State breakdown with those Coors Light Cold Hard facts and why hosting next Saturday could be so significant.
And really, you look at just look at the drop-off in points. That's what's amazing. And then how much more the opponent's getting. So you're dropping 11, and of course you're giving up 10 more. So home field is always an advantage, but they have a very different record than many teams.
Well, 2 years ago, the first championship game was played at Autzen in Eugene. Last year at Stanford, and Arizona State trying to host and get into the South for the first time. Be a great step forward for this program. And now Arizona has to decide 4th down. High throw there off the hands of David Richards.
Will Sutton right in Denker's face. He throws this ball, and you can see the reaction when he threw the ball that he was so afraid of getting hit. He wanted no part of it. Now watch this pressure. Will Sutton comes through, and he's throwing away and ducking away from his throw because he's afraid of getting hit, and that's why that ball flies on him a bit. Again, credit that incomplete to Will Sutton. He's dominating right now.
Jake Smith is 3 out of 5 this year on 40-plus field goals. And of course, the grass here, the turf is short. The ball will carry. Shouldn't be a distance issue. It is an accuracy issue, though. And Arizona comes away empty.
Kicking woes yet again for the Wildcats. See Rich Rod frustrated by it. This ball hooks. Just too much foot on the ball, brings it back around. Hey, it's not unlike golf. The face of the club has to be right. The closed face of your foot on that ball, pull that thing off.
You want to talk to Coach Saban about kicking problems tonight?
There's an issue. So now you've given the ball back with plenty of time for the Sun Devils to drive and get some points.
And that's frustrating even more because Arizona had a chance. They had a little offensive momentum for the first time. And now Arizona State gets Foster as a receiver.
Remember, when Bryce was in there, Foster moved to wide receiver. He's very familiar with the formations and the plays at this point.
And another significant part of last week's game at UCLA was the end of the first half. Strong! And Arizona State strikes again at the end of the first half. 50 yards.
And here's the ball. Jonathan McKnight has an easy play on this ball. Credit Jalen Strong does a great job with his left hand to push off the hip, give him just enough clearance to catch that ball. That's the type of thing you talk about. When I watch him as a receiver, it's his size, but that little bit of strength, he didn't have to extend the arm, just bumps him enough to get that space. And McKnight still had a play on the ball, but he didn't make it.
And Kelly fires it away. The last week, UCLA was driving near the end of the first half, trailing. Arizona State put a red zone stop on, forced UCLA to kick a field goal. Arizona State got the ball with 40 seconds left at their own 30-yard line. They drove the field for a touchdown right before halftime.
And it's like in basketball, at the end of a quarter, start of a quarter, can you make those little runs? You know, the Boston Celtics of the 80s were famous for it. That's what it is in football at the half. The last drive before, the first drive after, that is usually the game.
Kelly will get just shy of the 5. Arizona State, no timeouts here, but they have enough time to run another play and still get a field goal team out if needed.
He's going to hate himself. He had DJ Foster wide open if he'd have gone with it as his outlet pass.
Kelly fires it away to make sure Arizona State can kick here. Oh, we get a flag thrown.
And I don't know, on that sideline over there was contact. It looked to me as if Marquise Flowers got ran over by an offensive lineman, which would be an illegal lineman downfield.
Downfield, that was the question. Yeah, that might be the discussion here. Tyler Sulka, the right tackle, was he too far downfield?
And it was right at the 1 or 2 yard line, right on the sideline.
There is no foul for an ineligible receiver downfield. The quarterback legally grounded the ball, being outside of the pocket and throwing it beyond the line of scrimmage.
Right, there's the explanation from Jack Woods. So,
well, that's a new one on me. I didn't realize that. So I might design some plays like that then, just so I can get linemen to smack DBs down the field.
Now here's Gonzalez, 23 yards. Trying to keep his streak going, and he does. Well, there's a 6-point swing just before the half, Glenn, that really bugged Rich Rodriguez. Instead of narrowing it by 3, it's a 23-point lead.
Yeah, you know, a couple of mistakes and it keeps you from getting a touchdown. So you settle for 3 and you don't get that, and all of a sudden they get 3 on the backside. You're absolutely right. That's a huge turnaround, particularly when you're fighting for your life in a rivalry game right at the half.
Rich Rodriguez, I think, is absolutely getting the same explanation you just wanted. They're trying to figure out what that call was about. So here's Oregon winning the first Pac-12 championship game. UCLA's second straight appearance, had to go to Palo Alto in the rain last year. And Stanford went to the Rose Bowl. Stanford will try to get a second straight Rose Bowl berth. And Arizona State. The Sun Devils have gone to the Rose Bowl twice in their history. The quarterbacks of both of those teams are here tonight. Jeff Van Raphorst, who does color commentary on Arizona State's radio, and Jake Plummer, who's been part of our Pac-12 Network's crew this year, is also here tonight. Pat Tillman's brother Kevin and father are also on hand tonight. Great part of Arizona State's football history. Samaje Grant stopped and then allowed him to get hammered from behind by Demarie Nelson.
That's a large human being covering kickoffs. 230-pounders. If you stop, buyer beware. And Demarie Nelson brought the load. The entire dump truck of hate was coming down on him right there.
So one play for Arizona here to end the half. And a simple give, and Carey will get some yards. Carey's first half numbers get a little bit better near the end. But on the significant running plays of the first half, Arizona State won. The significant Arizona running plays. And that tone was huge in the half. Todd Graham, as custom, will gather his team and talk to them on the field before they go in.
When you look at this comparison, completion of attempts, pretty close, but it's the yards per attempt where Taylor Kelly wins. And he's got the touchdown, obviously, without the turnover. And we always stress, yards per pass attempt is the #1 stat to decide who can win a game. If you're looking at, if everything else is equal, that's the one. And Taylor Kelly winning the battle right now.
All right, let's hear from Todd Graham. Drea?
Thanks, Ted. Coach, I saw you gather with your team. What was the message inside the huddle?
Well, it was a message from Will Sutton. I didn't have much to say. A good first half. We just can't let. We gave up a cheap one there on defense. They got a really good team. Obviously, we've done a good job. I think keeping Carey in check the first half. We just got to score touchdowns instead of field goals. These guys are really good. Game's long from over.
Red zone offense has been very efficient in the first half. What's the key to sustaining that in the second?
Well, we just got to keep getting points, but we didn't score touchdowns instead of kicking field goals. But I'll take the field goals.
All right, Coach. Best of luck in the second half. Let's send it back upstairs to Ted and Glenn.
That's about as relaxed a Todd Graham as we've seen going off at halftime. Kadeem Carey had 62 yards in the half, but 28 of them on one carry. All Arizona State. And now let's go to our Pac-12 Network studios, the Dr. Pepper halftime report, and join Mike Yeh.